Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Captain America Issue 3, 2023. Oh yeah, and that's actually a pretty kind of cool looking cover. I like how it's got everything kind of in play. It doesn't really have much of like anything going on cards-wise of what's going on in the story, but I do like how it showcases the different kind of Steve time periods and the villain that's kind of going on, so it's a different kind of cover. And I really enjoyed this one. This did some kind of things that I didn't kind of expect it to do, and I think it handled it pretty well, mainly in regards to how time kind of works out. So let's crack into it. When you've been born in another era, frozen and defrosted decades later, you get some funny ideas about time. Tony, Bruce, and Thor don't agree on much, but where they do agree is that time doesn't actually exist, only our perception of it. Our brains need to slice it into progressive sequences or we'd all go mad. But on a quantum level, time doesn't exist. There's just one eternal, unending now. Right now, I'm being born. Right now, I'm being injected with Dr. Erskine's super soldier serum. Right now, I'm about to die. And right now, I'm here. It's all the same moment. We just can't see it, or at the most, we sense only the echoes of those moments. So that's kind of a cool way to kind of start off what happens here as we start seeing this kind of crime scene investigation that switches between what we're seeing with Steve today and then what was going on with the crime scene before. I think it's handled pretty well and is a kind of cool way to kind of handle a kind of mystery like this. And of course, we've got everything that's going on in Steve's past, and then we've got a glimpse of what could be going on with his future as we see a shield that doesn't have the usual kind of coloring on it, so we'll have to see how that kind of plays out in the future. So we see that he's linking up with Misty Knight, who the characters that we've gotten here, they're handled pretty well. It's not any kind of scenario that was kind of with Spider-Man in the last issue. It's more of, okay, this is what's going on, let's kind of see what's happening here. So this is where we start off when we see Steve and the victim, as we'll learn of what's kind of going on. And Misty thought that he should see this. He says, no worries, Misty, happy to help out the Aberrant Crimes Division. So what have you got? So far, 8 murders under the same circumstances. This is the first one in the US. The others have all been in Europe. What happened to the body? Burned to ash, even the bones, as we see the person saying that they don't understand. Why are you doing this? I didn't do anything. Not yet, no, but you will, or would have, but for me. In this moment. And then, of course, it's going back and forth between and I like how they're kind of grayed out if they're like in a different kind of time period. As Misty's like, we still don't know how it was done or how it reached the temperature needed to turn bone to ash without torching the whole building. And then we get the explanation of why this dude is doing what he's doing. He's saying that like the shadow equations took the measure of your actions, your history, your soul, and your destiny. One day you will be at the forefront of a movement to stop a war before it happens. With you, that movement succeeds. But without you, and very soon some of your associates, well, boom. So we see that he's setting up and taking out all these players in this game before they can affect whatever the emissary kind of wants. Let's see. Misty brought Steve in because some rogue AIM scientists are involved, and of course he's been fighting them longer than the Aberrant Crime Division, and that a sister of an AIM researcher told us he got rehired at an unknown location. Tried to find out where, but he wouldn't tell. He did send her some of the code he was working on, though, and saying that it looks the same. Yet the day after she received this, he disappeared, but this is only part of what she sent us. Why not bring all of it? Could be useful. Yeah, but just hours after the sister sent us the full package, she went for a long walk off a short pier as she kills herself, similar to the person that we'd seen previously who had been working on the equation. And then, of course, Misty's like, 2 of our best code breakers came within inches of doing the same thing. We realize there's a supernatural component to this stuff, so we're keeping the rest in a safe, which is a smart thing to do. And then the emissary guy is pretty much like, this has to be done exactly right. If it's even a small bit off, it won't work, as he's been like doing everything and creating these equations across the whole apartment. But fortunately, a part of me has been working with this for thousands of years. AIM wasn't known for messing with dark forces, so something's changed. Do you know what all this stuff on the wall means? No, but I have someone who may have some answers on the line. Zoom call? Not exactly. And then we see a little Doctor Strange figurine as Steve's like, you gotta be kidding me. Nope, not to say the magic words. Abracadabra, open sesame, Cthulhu, however to say the other one, because I wouldn't do the last one if I were you. There's no place like home. And I'm like, that's kind of cool, but it's kind of like, you would definitely think that Strange would give Cap one of those things just in case. And I'll be like, hey Cap, Steven, so what's new in your world? Frankly, a little weirded out. Totally get that. I can't be everywhere at once, so I decided to invest a small piece of myself in 47 figurines, and give them to trusted allies around the world. I astrally project myself into them and interact with the physical world in ways I can't while I'm in my astral form, which is pretty fucking smart. Now I need Straczynski to do like a Strange comic. And the dude is like, it's beautifully done. The victim's asking, what is all this? Interesting, this may take a moment. And then we see him talking more about, as he's looking at like all these knives. A poet said she sometimes feels a poem coming rushing towards her and has to rush to write it down, or it'll keep going and find someone else to write it. Martyrs are a lot like that. Cut one down, and whatever spirit is inside them just keeps going until finds someone else to pick up the slack and get it done. Some of these mystic symbols are typically used to create summoning circles designed to trap and hold demons, but the others are designed to trap human spirits instead of demons upon being killed. So that pretty much is Strange talking about that. It's like, so he's talking about like how like these martyr spirits could probably go on and find someone else. So what they're attempting to do is take these martyr spirits and trap them. Of course, explaining it here, being a spirit box, sealing up your spirit so it can't find someone else, like obliterating the poem before it can find another to write it. Which I think is a pretty good way to explain it, of explaining what they're actually doing, and also giving them something with regards to like the poem to have another kind of abstract way of figuring it, like understanding it. It's like, oh, that's cool. And then the dude's like, I used to keep bodies of my victims as souvenirs, now I keep what gets left behind when the room finishes doing what it does, the bright core of your being. Question is, which human spirits are being taken and why? Correct, Stephen. My previous souvenirs were only partially satisfying. I could experience my victims being dead, but I could never again experience the moment of their death. This dude's fucking nuts. Like, this is someone that, like, Steve's gonna have to, like, really deal with. I mean, granted, he's had, like, crazy kind of people that he's had to deal with before, but this dude, he likes having trophies that he can like experience the moment of death over and over and screaming again. It's nuts. Misty's like, they're still looking into the other victims, but this guy was a peace advocate scheduled to speak at a rally next week. No wants or warrants, no trouble. Everyone liked him. He was just a nice, quiet guy. But now my souvenirs let me hear you screaming as you relive your last moments over and over for all eternity. I think that's beautiful, don't you? As the dude's pleading not to have this done. For what it's worth, this is nothing personal. I'm simply an emissary. Well, technically the emissary. Oh, if you're worried about my blades, don't be. I have no intention of using them on you. You don't? No. To be sure, we had many wonderful years together, and these are my children, so where I go, they go. I'm sentimental that way, but no, that's not how you die. As we see him caressing the blades, it's like, whoa. This is how you die. And then we see his eyes light up, and then the dude's burnt. It's like, holy shit. As he then picks up the shard of the dude, and pretty much puts it in the box as he says he can hear him. It's like, god damn. Did you tell Kat the other reason he's here? What other reason? Check the wall beneath the window, as we see that Cap's shield symbol is in there as well. Just a guess, Steve, but I'd say you might be next on the list. And as I touch it, I can't shake the strange feeling that this is all familiar somehow. But like I said, sometimes I get a little lost between the here and now and the there and then as we go to Brooklyn in 1938. Let's see, this... We were... in Brooklyn Heights near the waterfront. So now we're in kind of the same kind of place. And I like that the art style is able to emulate Chris Evans around that time period in Cap. It's enough that it doesn't seem like it gets crazy and hard to kind of do. It just flows very well with the art style that we've got. And then we pretty much see that he has been going to these rallies and pretty much just heckling the shit out of the Nazis. Good work there. As they're talking about, like, Oh, their jobs and neighborhoods are being infiltrated by communists and migrant filth and all that shit. It's the basic kind of playbook. You riling them up with stupid kind of bullshit that doesn't really make any kind of sense. But it's like, oh, you point to that person, they're the one that's the problem. And of course, then it's like almost pickup artist kind of shit as well, because then it's like, unlike the men you see here tonight, the best and brightest of the American bun, the future of both of our countries. It's like, you tear down one group and you puff up the other ones and be like, hey, go and fight those fuckers. It's like, fuck you, man. Saying that they've got corporations and banks to ally themselves with them, as Steve then starts heckling and going, hey, why so loud and angry? Wake up this morning on the wrong side of history? There's something I'd like to say about what you're saying. Again. And then, of course, he says, because we are not afraid of questions or of fools. What is it, pray tell, that you wish to discuss today? It's like, okay, Steve, do it. Iron swords and steel swords. It's funny because Steve starts talking in the kind of metaphors that they do, but then being like, iron swords are made of just one element, which makes them brittle. When the going gets tough, they break, but steel swords are made of many different elements, which makes the sword more flexible. Steel bends, but it does not break, no matter how tough things get. It's like, yeah. That the kid you were telling me about? Yes, sir, Mr. Lansky. Interesting. We're made stronger by our differences, not weaker. It makes us more than the sum of our parts, and one of these days, the sum of our parts is going to beat the pants off the sum of your parts. Fuck yes. Talking how it's just catchphrases and communist propaganda, that he's a Bolshevik. It's like, typical kind of playbook. It's like, fuck you, man. Saying that he's had his say, to go back to his handlers and tell him you've been a good boy, and that they'll be doing their shit, and that there'll be an inevitable alliance between Germany and the US. And then Steve gets pelted with shit and everything. It's like, you fuckers. And then the stupid speech dude's like, how much longer must we put up with this idiot? Don't worry, once Operation Garden is complete, even he will come over to our side. The greatest patriots are those who see the error of their ways and become apostates to their former views. And that always comes in blood. It's like, let's see how that works on you. And then we see this car pull up to Steve, telling him to get in. And he's like, and if I say no, then you'll miss a rather significant opportunity. Wait, I've seen your pictures in the paper. You're Meyer Lansky, the gangster. Why don't you say it a little louder? Maybe put it on the radio. Some people in Long Island didn't hear you. Get in the freaking car. I just want to talk. Which Steve's like, shit. It's like, I deal with Nazis and deal with gangsters. So they go to his place, offers him some food from a deli, but like he tells one of his guys to prep a dog bag, not to skimp on the corned beef. He wanted to see Steve because his boys have seen you out there a lot calling out the Nazis. Other people are too scared to pull a stunt like that. I guess I'm not seeing him as much as a threat, and that's their mistake. Very good point. And then, of course, he's saying he used to be skinny, little runt himself, no offense, none taken, but I was smart, see, and the big guys, the bullies, the tough guys, weren't. I could outthink them, and after a while they realized they needed me more than they liked pounding me. They always underestimate the little guys, the thoughtful guys, but folks like you and me change the world. If you aren't afraid to take on the Nazis, it'll encourage the next guy to speak up. There's hope in there, you get me? Still pretty dangerous, though. I hear you got roughed up a few times, so why do it? Why put yourself on the line like that? Because, like you said, they're bullies, and all bullies are cowards. Yep. And then we start shifting, and he starts talking about what kind of goes on. Doesn't matter if they're in Brooklyn or Berlin or any place else. Today, tomorrow, or the day after, they're cowards. They put on identical uniforms because it makes them feel like they belong to something, like they're important, and because it's harder to pick out who did what later. Yeah. They think wearing an armband makes them strong, that standing on a sidewalk threatening people makes them tough, but they're not. They're cowards. They show up in groups to scare store owners and ordinary folk because 10 against 1 makes them feel powerful, like they run the world. But the problem with thinking there's safety in numbers is, what happens when there are more of the other guys than there are of them? For every Nazi goose stepping down the street, there's a million other people who hate their guts and everything they stand for. Yeah. Call them whatever you like. Third Reich, Nazis, SS, stormtroopers, or anything else they come up with later. They're bullies, they're cowards. Damn straight. That's a really good, powerful page there and really gets Steve, and I like the art there of how it really gets the kind of Chris Evans kind of vibe there, as we then also finish out towards here. And we outnumber the hell out of them. And we need to say that loud and clear until these clowns understand it. For a young kid, you're pretty old. Yeah, I get that a lot. But you gotta stop with the speeches. Nobody's got time for that stuff. I'll do what I can. So let me tell you why I wanted to talk to you. All my guys are Italian, so they got their own problems with Mussolini and his gang, but me, I'm Jewish. And like anyone else with a lick of common sense, I can see where this is going with the Nazis. They may have started by attacking us, but they won't stop until the whole world has a smoking crater beneath a Nazi flag. Yep, old shit. Good. Yeah. So I decided to do what I can to make their lives difficult. Supplies that never show up because their trucks get hijacked. Somebody falls down a flight of stairs. Now I'm hearing they're planning something big, but I can't find out what. I tried sending in my guys, but they look like, you know, gangsters. Thank you, Mr. Tact. But still, they, you know, you're there all the time. They don't connect you to me, and they don't take you seriously. That puts you in a position to find out what's up. Why not go to the police? Cops won't do anything because some of them are scared of the Nazis, others are on their payroll, and the rest agree with them because they hate the commies even more. Yeah, that's the big problem. That the main thing he's got is Operation Garden for the name. If you hear anything, call him. And don't take any chances that are bigger than you. Get it? Got it. Good, now take your doggy bag and get out. Give him a lift to wherever he needs to go. You got it, Mr. Lansky. The calendar says this happened decades ago, but deep inside it feels like it happened yesterday, because everything's happening right now. Could be today, could be yesterday, or 6 weeks ago on AIM Island. Now, we're getting some stuff to kind of link up of what's kind of going on. And we pretty much see that they're making Henry, we need to make him strong and strong as possible and ridiculously hard to kill. That what the big metal suit is for, Ariana? In part, yes. We've also prepared a series of injections based on what little is known of Captain America's super soldier serum. This will pave the way for your rebirth as the emissary. Pretty much making the perfect kind of weapon for Asmodee to do his shit. It's like, okay, he's got a suit. They're going to pretty much try and super soldier serum him. Makes sense. And that they're also going to be utilizing gamma radiation. He's asking if he would be able to Hulk out. No, Henry, we want you to stay in control at all times. Darn, always wanted to try that someday. This dude's freaky, man. Henry, holy shit. The last key to your power is the supernatural force with which you will be imbued. This combination of magic and science will make you unbeatable by either of those alone. I can't wait to see the results. He doesn't know? He still hasn't figured it out? No, unbelievable, isn't it? Smart with money and power and arms deals, but simple stuff? Totally clueless. Clueless about what? A mistake made many years ago, Travis, that must now be corrected. Asmodee? Once before, I trusted mortals to do what needed doing using the resources at their disposal. They failed. I overestimated them and underestimated another. If the new age is to be prevented, if the next generation of change agents is to be stopped, then I must engage personally. And there's only one way this can be achieved, by becoming one with the emissary. It's like, shit. Lane is screwed. He's like, I saw what happened to Manuel when you left. What the fuck? Yes, if you leave me, please don't. I'll give you anything. I'll give you everything. You already have. And I do love the art for showcasing Asmodee. And this is just... that really shows the horror of what's going on as the entity leaves his body and he just burns up and falls apart. As the dude says, cool, and Ariana is like looking away. It's very effective to have both of them there to show how one's like cool and the other one's disgusted. Are you prepared? Do you consent? You betcha. I can feel it. Feel the power. We are here, and we are one, as we see them fused together, red eyes glowing. For all intents and purposes, you will remain your own person. I will step forth and intervene only when I deem it necessary. So it's like, interesting. Normally, in that kind of situation, the being would kind of want to take as much control as possible. Ceding that control means that they either don't give a shit or trust the other one pretty far. Copy that, no worries. Let's get the rest of this done so I can get to work. What do we do about all that? Leave it there, the cat'll get it. Right now I'm being born. Right now I'm dying. Right now I'm finally leaving the scene of the murder, watching Misty and her strange doll drive off. And right now I'm waiting because my gut says there's more to this. When it's just money, power, or fear, whoever's responsible takes off. But when it's personal, like this feels personal, they stick around. And it's like, yep, because this is personal. Hey, Cap. Big fan. Always looked up to you. If it was just me, I'd buy you a beer and spend the next hour telling you how cool you are. Which is kind of weird for a serial killer to kind of look up to Cap. It's like, okay, I can understand. Like, Cap has a lot of good qualities, but it's still kind of like, ooh. It's like Frank looking up to Cap and being like, yeah, people follow Cap, not me. But it's not just me. And the guy inside me has something he wants to say. He says, now that I think about it, several decades ago, I made the mistake of letting you live. I can't afford to make that mistake again, not with what's coming. Tonight, right now, you die. Time gets funny after a while. It all starts to run together, but feel the same. But not tonight, not this moment. It doesn't matter what you say when you stand, it doesn't matter what you say you stand for when standing is easy, when you're safe at home in your own bed. The only thing that really matters is what you stand for when standing is the hardest. Let's go. It's like, damn straight, Cap. As the emissary goes off to Cap, it's like, and that's where it's to be continued, where we're going to be getting our fight next time. So, I really enjoyed this one because it was kind of cool. We have had this interesting kind of use of time, but I really liked having the use of it with regards to the crime scene, where you're seeing us investigating it, and then it as it happens, and the ghostly kind of portions of what's going on. I loved getting more into Steve's head of him going against the Nazis and all of that in 1938, and it was interesting to see a little Meyer Lansky cameo thing and having them hooked together and trying to find Operation Garden and what's kind of going on there. And I liked Cap laying out that Nazis are bullies and cowards, and it doesn't matter what they're called. Those kind of assholes always pop up. And it doesn't matter what they're called. You just got to stand up and say that, no, we outnumber you. And then I really liked seeing what was going on with Henry and him becoming the emissary. Travis Lane getting his final full reward for accepting Asmodee. And then Asmodee being like, I need to take these motherfuckers out. So he decides to create his kind of perfect attack vessel and inhabit it. So we'll have to see how this kind of works out. This is not your typical kind of foe. I mean, the serial killer kind of aspect of Henry would have been an interesting foe on his own, but him being amped up with the science that he's gotten from AIM and being able to be amped up by Asmodee, the supernatural forces, Cap's going to have a kind of harder time with this, since he's usually not linked up with that much kind of supernatural elements throughout any kind of points, barring, of course, Mjolnir, against very grave threats and anything like that. So we'll have to see how he's able to handle this and what help he'll be able to get. And I mean, granted, I do like that we also learned that Strange gives little figurines to people like that, so maybe he'll give Steve one at some point, but I can't wait to see what kind of goes on, because this is going to be an insane kind of fight to see what kind of goes on. I don't think they will escalate it. I think the emissary would at least, well, Asmodee will at least give Henry a little bit of a chance to kind of flex himself before doing anything supernatural to see if he can take out Steve without any kind of help, and I think that's how Henry would want it. So there's going to be a kind of escalation where Asmodee might be like, fuck this shit, take Steve out now, stop playing with him in the next issue. So that is definitely a fight that I'm looking forward to, and I can't wait to see what kind of happens next, both with Cap fighting the emissary and how Steve learns about Project Garden and what that entails and how he's able to stop it. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.